Okay, sorry about that. I had to finish something for work and then I had to go outside, so I'm a little bit late, but I'm always a little bit late. So this document relating to the real estate complaint, the complaint to the real estate board, whatever it is that Laura made about Clayton, uh, some of it was already posted, I think, yesterday or the day before. And it was mostly just her complaint and what she included in her complaint. But now this document that has come out this morning is 186 pages that also includes Clayton's response to that, which has a large thread of messages between Laura and Clayton while they were having their sort of business relationship, which we all know how that ended. But some of the messages she sent him have not been seen before, and it's just so bizarre. And I'm aware that, you know, her attorney that she has for free, by the way, which is the whole problem here, is like he's enabling her and he's free of charge for her, is making statements threatening to sue people again. At least at one point last night, said something along the lines of how tempted he is to sue me. Somebody told me that. I said, you can clip it and send me the clip where he's talking about me, but I'm not going to watch all that anymore. I'm not going to read whole like tangents on the man's blog. I don't know. I looked at a couple things and I skimmed over them, but some of the ones that he was posting at like 2 or 3 or 5 in the morning recently, I was like, didn't you just say you were going to stay offline and not litigate this stuff online and whatever it is you're trying to do? So obviously whatever's going on with him is not going well, or I don't think he would be, you know, blogging long tirades in the middle of the night and, you know, making videos about his internet critics again and just like all this kind of crazy stuff that he's doing. I'm like, okay, man, if that's how you want to handle your business with whatever's going on with the bar, that's fine. But continuing to threaten me with lawsuits is not going to accomplish anything. If the man is going to sue me, then he's going to sue me. I can't do anything to stop that. Okay. Other than stop criticizing his client, which I'm not willing to do because this is, you know, something that I firmly believe is a horrible act of abuse. And I can explain that, my opinion on that all day long. That's how I feel based on her behavior, based on what we're looking at. These are public documents. These are things that she said and did. This didn't just come out of thin air. And then he threatens to sue me and other people after refusing to look at all the information, refusing to look at all her behavior, which is not going to work, by the way, if he wants to listen to this podcast and review it on his blog, because then he's going to have to stop pretending that he doesn't know details of the story that he's previously said were before his time. Not that he only said it was before his time, but he attacked people based on not knowing things that were before his time. It's crazy. So he can continue to threaten to sue me all he'd like, but I am going to continue to share my thoughts and opinions on what's going on in this case and everything adjacent to the case. As far as his personal life, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. So if he wants to crash out on his blog, that's fine. But the weird threats, I mean, if you're going to sue me, do it. I can't help that. I don't want it. I don't want any sort of like interaction with this man. I don't want him tied to my life. But if he, as a person who markets himself as a First Amendment, like free speech lawyer online, wants to attack his critics with lawsuits to punish them for their speech, I can't stop that. Okay, the only thing that I can do is to give up my right to speak my mind on this issue, and I'm not going to do that. So if he wants to take that to court, I literally can't do anything about it except defend myself. And I'm not going to sit here and explain all the ways that I would defend myself because I'm not going to be like him and lay out every single thing online for him to look at and then, you know, use. So we're going to move on, and I'm going to continue to talk about these things. And if he decides to sue me, then that's what he's going to do. And if he wants to waste his life like that and he wants to be bitter and angry at his online critics and like can't just close the browser, exercise a little bit of self-control and close the browser and walk away, that's not my problem. I'll deal with the lawsuit if I have to, but other than that, it's not my fucking problem. Like his sad little life is not my problem. So you don't get to go on your blog and call me a shit-eating worm and then complain because I called you a bitch. That's just not how that works. We don't use our taxpayer-funded courts, our government in this country, to punish people for weird, petty name-calling disputes back and forth. That's stupid as fuck. Get over it. All right. So this side of things that came from Clayton, I'm going to go through some of that. There's no fucking way I can get through this on my break today, so I'm just going to do some of it, and then I'll come back tonight with Bruce at like 8:30 to do some more. But there's one thing I wanted to get to first. Give me 1 second. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Okay, so I saw this had first been brought up on Twitter, and this is like some message she sent to the people behind Plan B. And the thing that's insane about this is, if you believe what's written in the investigative report, which I do, I find that to be a reliable source of information. If that somehow ends up not being true, I'll come back, correct that, and apologize like any responsible person would. But I believe what's in the investigative report, which is that Laura was, in fact, at the time she's saying she was not intimate with anybody else for a very long time, and at the time she's trying to convince people that she's pregnant by Clayton after non-intercourse, was having full-blown sex with someone else and lying about it. But she sent this to Plan B so that she could screenshot it, send it to Clayton and whoever else, and manipulate them. And that's emotionally abusive, it's gaslighting, and it's wrong. Okay. So she sends this to whoever's behind Plan B, the manufacturer or whatever. It says, I was wondering if you could help me figure out whether or not Plan B is something I would need to consider taking after a consensual interaction. Now, after Laura and her attorney have pushed false claims of rape against Clayton, I find this pretty disturbing. So, obviously it was a consensual interaction. Obviously there was no rape, which we know from her emails that she sent to Clayton, but Laura and her attorney, David Gingras, have falsely accused him of rape online. And she knows damn well that it was consensual, and she knows damn well there was no penetration, because that's what she wrote right here. That's what she wrote in her emails when she said, I want you to see how tight I am, because they hadn't had sex. All right. After a consensual interaction, I have not been on birth control for more than a year, nor have I done anything physical whatsoever with anyone since I went off it. Now, bear in mind, this is a message to whoever's answering these questions for Plan B. This is not a message to Clayton. This is not a message that Clayton ever needed to see. This is not a message that I ever needed to see. But she used this message, sent it, screenshotted it, and provided this message to Clayton for some sort of emotional manipulation. This is not a genuine concern that she's having. It's pretty obvious. Okay. This past week, I was consensually intimate with a partner, although we did not have intercourse, which she changed that story pretty dramatically later on. We did a significant amount of, for lack of a better word, humping with no clothing, underwear, nor a condom on. I performed oral sex on him and he came in my mouth and he fingered me as well. So why did the Plan B people need to know this? Why did the Plan B people need to know this? That's a disturbing amount of detail. Okay. When I got up to go to the bathroom, I felt fluid that should not have been present based on what we had just done. While this seems like a question that would be posed by a teenager, yeah, I'm more than a decade beyond those years. Like most my age, I've had intercourse enough over the years to know what is normal and what is not normal to see and feel down there after intimacy. This felt like that, not like what it should feel like after him going to second base on me. I finally brought up to the man I was intimate with, who understandably had the reaction that it would be impossible to be pregnant if intercourse hadn't taken place. After looking it up and learning that it can happen without it, he said that he was sure he didn't pre-cum when we were rubbing against each other. I don't know if it could have been pre-cum or cum I felt when I got up. All I know is that I'm very familiar with what my own fluids look and feel like before, during, and after I climax. And then it cuts off there, thank God. But she sent this just to provide, further credibility to the lies she was telling him that she got pregnant from their interaction. Like this whole nasty, weird detail that she's sending to them, this is all for Clayton. The audience of this message is meant to be Clayton. She doesn't give a shit what the Plan B people say. She knew that she was having sex with someone else based on the investigative report. And that is what I'm going to go off of, the investigative report in the criminal case. Give me one sec. So making up this weird story, sending this message just for the purpose of screenshotting it to Clayton is obviously part of a manipulation. This is nasty. This chick should not receive a plea deal. I mean, usually they do offer plea deals, and I know that she was offered a plea. I think she should take it, whatever it is, but we'll see about that. Let's see. And so I'm going to go back up to Clayton's response to her complaint to the real estate board, and then we'll start to go through some of the messages. Because I'm not going to get through this whole document. There's no fucking way this afternoon. All right. Oh my God, I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Imagine if I just forgot to mute myself. That would have been great. Okay. So this is Clayton's response to her complaint, right? It says, recounting of the facts. Please reference the document titled Laura Owens Transcript for a complete overview of the messages that were sent between Laura and I via text. Laura Owens initially reached out to me on LinkedIn back in March of this year and stated she wanted to buy investment properties. Knowing that I was a real estate agent, she asked if I would be willing to help her out, which I said that I would be happy to do so. On March 10th, Laura and I engaged in a series of text messages that eventually led to her coming over to my house and us hooking up. And those text messages, which he includes here, were a rough read for me. And so I'm going to give those a miss. I'm going to give those a miss this afternoon. I don't think I can. No. But we'll get to like what happened after they hooked up and all that. But that eventually led to her coming over to my house and us hooking up. We did not have sexual intercourse, which is important to note for a later point that I will bring up. However, she did perform oral sex on me. The next day, Laura and I went to look at properties. At the end of viewing a home, I asked Laura to sit with me in my car to talk about the night before. I told her that I had made a mistake by inviting her over to my house and that I felt was unprofessional of me to do so. I told her that if she wanted to find a new real estate agent to work with, I understood and didn't want things to be weird between us. She told me that things would not be weird, but then asked me if I was willing to give her a chance and date her since she really enjoyed the night. I told her that I was not interested in doing so and that I wanted to proceed forward as friends. She began to cry and said it was upsetting that I wasn't willing to give her a chance, but eventually said she understood and that we could proceed forward with working together. Over the course of a few days, we looked at multiple properties and eventually Laura settled on 2 properties that piqued her interest. We ended up writing offers for both properties. However, Laura would not keep things professional between us. She kept asking to go on a date and for me to give her a chance with dating, to which I said that I had no interest. This led to her becoming upset again and stating that she didn't feel she would be able to work with me if I wasn't willing to give her a chance. I told her that I respected her feelings and if that was the case, we should not work together. But once again, she said that she did not want to work with anyone else. So before we move on here, as I was going through the text messages that are attached to this, I started to see that like a lot of her direct responses to him and a lot of what he said explicitly, please stop doing this. If I change my mind about a romantic relationship, I'll tell you. I don't want you to cross this line. I don't want you to send me any communications that are more than friendly, that are, crossing the line of something that you would say to someone who's only a friend. And she continued to force, him to put up with her sexual advances and her romantic advances. And that, some would qualify as sexual harassment. I can't tell you if that meets the legal standard of sexual harassment, but from a layperson understanding of what sexual harassment is, that's certainly what it seems like to me. If you continue to push someone's boundaries and force, sexual and romantic advances on them when they've asked you to stop, and she also puts a financial component in here like, wow, this is like a $70,000 commission for you and you don't even want to give me a chance. She's holding his job, like his finances over his head and his job over his head. And that to me very much appears to be sexual harassment. It's not okay. It's gross. And we have this bargain bin attorney ranting and raving about people who criticize her for this online instead of accepting responsibility for her actions and allowing people to have their feelings and criticize that. They're over here threatening to sue everyone imaginable. It's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. I mean, all this crazy, abusive, emotionally manipulative behavior, and you're mad that somebody called you names online when you're like allegedly out here pretending to be other people, emailing them, allegedly pretending to have, hurt yourself and sending an email to Dave Neal about how, Laura tried to off herself last night, which people believe was Laura for good reason. Can we prove it? No. Can I say definitely that she did that and that she should be convicted and tried for something like that in a court of law? No, but she's a fraudster. I know that much. All this manipulation, all this abuse of so many people. And then when people have human reactions to that and sometimes use bad words or call them names, she has a free speech attorney, a self-proclaimed free speech attorney saying, we're going to sue you for this, threatening to sue people for this because they hurt their fifis after she abused these people, hurt their fifis. And so they're going to take people to court. Don't threaten. If you're going to take me to court and we'll deal with it. Shit or get off the pot because Deadpool's wife is waiting right outside the porta potty. I don't have time for you. Jesus. All right. I began to question if Laura actually wanted to buy real estate or if she was really just trying to spend more time around me. No matter how many times I asked to keep things professional, she would not do so and continue to say that it would be hard to work together if I weren't willing to give her a chance and date her. Eventually, my gut told me that I needed to back out of representing her and refer her to someone else. So I told her I was no longer going to be representing her. She panicked and asked, "What about the current deals that we sent over?" To which I replied by telling her to find another agent and tell him/her the terms of the deal that she wanted to make. She said that she wouldn't do that because she only wanted to work with me, but I once again confirmed that I would no longer be representing her. I sent her a list of names via Google of other agents and told her to reach out to them, and also mentioned that I could put her into contact with someone from my real estate team. And I'll just say, like, this is obviously not what she wanted. She wanted to continue trying to badger Clayton into a relationship with her, which we'll keep reading about here. But he was honest that he didn't tell her the truth when it came to submitting offers because she was continuing this behavior. And so every time I see Laura or David try to say, like, look, Clayton lied, I'm like, yeah, she was sexually harassing him over and over again, repeatedly, refusing to stop. And so he lied so he could get away from the person who was sexually harassing him. And I would argue stalking him. It's fucking crazy. Again, I can't speak from a legal standard standpoint. I'm not a lawyer, but this is what a lot of people from a layperson standpoint and layperson language would call stalking, what she did. All right. She then sent an email to my broker, Kathy Swan, and said that I had violated my responsibilities as an agent and that she either wanted me to be punished for my behavior or I could continue to work with her and she wouldn't ask for punishment to be divvied out to me. So again, it's do what I want or else. Give me what I want or else. And what she wanted was a sexual or romantic relationship that this man did not want. I told Kathy that I was not willing to work with her, so Kathy relayed to Laura that I would not be interacting with her further. Kathy also said that she would be happy to put her in contact with another agent to close on the 2 deals that we had written offers for. Laura declined and then sent me a message stating that she was pregnant. As I stated before, Laura and I never had sexual intercourse, so her claim is ridiculous in nature. For the last half year, Laura has harassed me via email and text messaging about me being the father to her unborn children. I told Laura that I would take a prenatal paternity test. However, she placed a stipulation on it that she would only take the test if I were to date her with intention for a couple of weeks. So she says that he refused a paternity test. She's previously tried to say that he refused a paternity test, which, you know, her lawyer can pretend all he wants that she didn't do these things because it was before his time, but just because he refuses to acknowledge or doesn't know about it doesn't mean it didn't happen. She tried to say that he refused a paternity test, but the truth is he refused to date her. And so then she wouldn't do the paternity test. Ridiculous. It's fucking sick. She would not take the test under any other circumstance. I declined it, and this is where we stand today. Laura continues to harass me with messages, and now this filing of a complaint. She will not provide me with visitation documentation of the ultrasounds that she claims she has had done. There is no ultrasound, by the way. Everybody knows that by now, but if there is, she should have provided it in court when she was ordered to by the judge. Nor will she let me speak to any of the medical providers that have seen her and administered the ultrasounds. The only proof she has given me is a positive pregnancy test, but there's no telling if she got pregnant by somebody else or if that she's even pregnant to begin with. And so she lied repeatedly, saying she hadn't been involved or intimate with anyone else other than Clayton in, I don't know, several months, at least several months, maybe longer than that. But she was actually sleeping with someone else at the same time, then trying to convince Clayton that he impregnated her through only non-penetrative hooking up, no sex, knowing full well that she was, like having sex with some other guy, but she wouldn't get the notoriety she would from that guy, from suing some poor random guy. So she went after Clayton instead. But hey, I'm a terrible person for talking about it online, right? As I have said, she will not allow me to speak to any of the doctors that have seen her. Why am I telling you all of this? Simply because Laura Owens has an obsession with me, and the emails and text messages prove that. I spent time on reality TV as the former lead of season 26 The Bachelor, and unfortunately am subjected to obsessive individuals and false claims constantly. Remember, this was not the first time that he had faced some false claims that year. And it was proven that the woman who accused him of like hooking up with her was in a different state, different time zone than him when she accused him of that. And then later she came out and said, oh, well, the guy at the bar said he was the Bachelor and looked like him. Dumbass. All right. It's just the nature of being a celebrity, which I don't consider myself, but I am by some people's standards. Laura is doing whatever she can to keep communication between her and me going. Since I have blocked her on all social media, email, and text, and no longer am reading or responding to her messages, she has now resorted to reaching out to you all, as she knows the pregnancy stint has run its course, and she now needs to focus on a new tactic. I am sure that Laura mentioned to you all that I had violated my duties and cost her millions of dollars in real estate transactions. However, she never had any real intention of actually following through with those deals, and attached below is proof of this. Okay. Our offer on one of the properties was accepted by the seller and seller's agent, John Izzo. I told John via phone call that I was no longer representing Laura, and also informed him that she said she would not allow any other agents to represent her. He said that he would be willing to represent her and stated he would give her a phone call. Upon us ending the phone call, I then texted him to confirm transfer of responsibility of representation. He texted me the next day stating that she bailed on the deal. This confirmed what I had known all along, which was that Laura never had any intention of buying real estate. The ball was in her court to move forward with the deal, as she was in first position to go under contract on the home, and yet she backed out. She just used that initial introductory line on LinkedIn to get closer to me. Nuts. Jesus. You are welcome to look through all of the documentation that I've sent over. It's a lot, but I've captured all of it, as I plan on suing her for defamation of character, which she's very lucky that he didn't do that, because he wanted to move on with his life. And emotional damage. I have been documenting everything she continues to send to build up more of a case for when I decide to take action. For your all's purpose, I try to keep it concise and just have you reference the image below and document that I bolded above, Laura Owens' transcript, as those pertain directly to the real estate transactions. Everything else deals with her claiming she's pregnant, and I doubt is important for your investigation. It will, however, showcase her mental state, and I think that's important to note because I picked up on it early, and is why I told her I could not represent her further. I provided everything I have to show why it was not in anyone's best interest that I represent her, nor continue to communicate with her. She currently is threatening to go public to defame me, as you can see by the LO email 0906 folder within the drive link. I receive 5 emails a day on average from her, even though I never respond. As I said before, this has gone on for over half a year now. If you do decide to read all the messages, make sure you read them in chronological order and read all of it, as full context is needed in order to make any judgment. The reason I say this is because in Laura's most recent messages, she is blatantly lying about me not being willing to take a prenatal paternity test. I said I would take one at any point, but that I would not do it if her stipulation of us having to date exclusively for a week or two was involved. She never agreed to my request and continued to say that her stipulation was the only way that she would schedule the test. Jesus. But once I went back to not responding to her messages, she started saying she would do it with no stipulations. I then responded, okay, let's schedule it, to which she went right back to adding in her stipulation. I highlight this so that you can see how she is gaslighting me and those that she reaches out to. To reiterate, I do not believe I am the father, but I've been trying to take the prenatal paternity test, as that will effectively end this all. She knows this too, which is why she ultimately has been objecting to taking one. And reminder again, she was having intercourse with someone else at this time and lying about it. And also, she did take a test with, I can't even remember the name of the lab now. It's been so long. Bred from Ravgen. That's why I remember Ravgen. And the results were little to no fetal DNA. At least twice. Little to no fetal DNA. Because they don't test you to tell you you're pregnant or not. They test for paternity. So the result they could give was little to no fetal DNA. So. Okay. The Google Drive file was too large to submit via your website. So here's a Google Drive link of the folder that you can access. And I put that there. And then here was the text from John, who offered to represent Laura if the real estate was really what she wanted. He says, "Hey, John, I'm sending you this text to transfer responsibility and representation of the contract with my former client, Laura Owens." He says, "Thanks, I'll keep you posted." And then, just like you said, she bailed. Thanks for trying. He says, "I apologize for bringing her your way." Poor guy. All right. I'm going to skip ahead. Like I said, I'm simply not willing to read these messages where they were flirting by myself. So I'm going to skip ahead to a certain point after the encounter happened. I have to look for the picture of cookies, and I know I'm close to where I'm trying to get. Yep, there it is. I can't read that. Oh, God. Okay, so we'll get to the part where it says the next day. She's texting him about real estate, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. So he talks about the conversation in the car. We've heard about the conversation in the car a lot. He basically tells her he doesn't want a relationship, doesn't want to pursue anything romantically or sexually further. She gets upset by that, but they're going to continue trying to work together, I guess. She kept reiterating that even though she didn't go through exactly what I did, she understands me more than most people probably can and could help me out greatly by being a part of my life. Lady, this guy's your realtor. You spent a night together where you guys were high. Stop. Just stop. So, like, initially what she's doing right here with this conversation is like, it's weird behavior, but you can, like, do better than that. You can recover from that. Maybe not with Clayton. Absolutely not with Clayton, I would say. But, like, you can, like, kind of do some work and think, like, what happened here? How did this interaction go wrong? And it ended the way that I really didn't appreciate. I didn't get what I wanted out of that. And I feel bad. So what can I do in the future to avoid hurting myself or getting hurt in these kinds of situations? At that point, even if you think Clayton's a wad, you can kind of look at that situation and be like, okay, what went wrong here? And what can I do differently next time? Because what I want is obviously not what he wants. It's not the end of the world. Like, having an overreaction the way she did, and in some of these text messages, I would argue even the day after or so, having that overreaction is not the end of the world. Like, you're obviously not going to be able to have a relationship with Clayton. He doesn't want it. But it's not the end of the world. Like, you can do better than that. You can recover from that and have a normal life. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to continue down this spiraling path of bringing this man to court over fake blowjob babies. Especially knowing you're banging somebody else in the background. Like, what about that guy? Did you ask him to sign a contract? I don't know. Maybe. All right. And when I say, like, you out loud, I'm not trying to talk to Laura. I'm thinking out loud, right? I'm just processing my thoughts out loud. I don't want to talk to Laura. I don't want to be near Laura. I am interested in, like, watching her court case, maybe, because that would be a lot of time to, like, go spend out there. And I don't know, maybe she'll take a plea, right? So, like, I don't know if I would even go to that. But I don't want anything to do with her. And unfortunately, I have to stipulate that because, like, most normal people understand that. When people are making commentary like this online, they understand that. But these people have been obsessively watching everything that I do, just, like, waiting and hoping to God they can find something to drag me to court for. I don't want any contact with Laura. I blocked her on all social media that she was on. I made sure I blocked her email address. I blocked her lawyer's email address. I blocked her lawyer. He continued to try to reach out to me on her behalf. He may have deleted those tweets now, but I have them for my records. He sought me out in comment sections on YouTube that were not my channel, so I couldn't block him on, and they've tried to contact me that way, tried to communicate with me that way. I don't want it. And even obsessively surveilling me in, like, semi-private conversations where I'm in a Discord server that's invite only, where they pretend to be someone else, or they come in as an anonymous person. They try to wait and see what I say about them and see, like, what can we do? Oh my God, Lauren's talking to friends about us and saying mean things. What can we do about this? Oh my God, we better paste pictures of her into a court case that has nothing to do with her whatsoever, where she never met the man who is actually a party to the case. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, we're talking about a DVRO renewal from, like, 2016 or something, like 10 years ago. Maybe it was. Maybe I got the year wrong. I don't know. But pasting pictures of me into a DVRO renewal for an order against a guy I had never met at the time. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? I didn't know who Mike Berrettini was until like the year 2023. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? So just like crazy shit going on there. Oh, hey Tiff, how's it going? Give me 1 second. At least you know you couldn't get her pregnant, Lauren. Well, I would never fucking try, is the thing. Like, I don't want anyone to harm this lady. I don't want anyone to bother her, contact her or her family or go near her. I don't want anyone doing that shit, right? I don't like her. I don't want to talk to her. You know, so I should be able to talk about this case and these documents related to the case without being threatened by a crazy attorney who's like trying to subpoena a judge and her like insulting the judge's family and like all this crazy stuff that's going on. It's just like, I don't know. They don't want me to be able to sit here and speak freely. So now I have to sit here and stipulate everything with like, hey, by the way, be sure not to talk to Laura, even though I never encouraged you to do so. Right. So. Okay. Let me see if I can find. Oh, right. So she sends a picture here, which is a document of her like story in Chicken Soup for the Soul, which Chicken Soup for the Soul removed, by the way. And I'm pretty sure that there is no Chicken Soup for the Soul anymore, but at least from their online version, they removed her story because it was full of falsehoods. Let's see. An attorney with 2 DUIs. Look, I don't like. If he wants to move on, that's fine. I'm not going to bother him. It's the fact that he's like out here attacking everyone online again and threatening to sue. That is the problem. Like if he wants to move on with his life, fine, whatever. I won't bother the guy. You know what I mean? I don't care. But he's back and doing this shit again. So, all right. So they removed that story, by the way. But she's like sending these things. This like TEDx talk and the Chicken Soup story. Like these were her badges of honor, her victim badges of honor that were based on lies. And so she would like send them to people and be like, look, I'm a special victim. And so you better treat me right. You better get with me. Even though you clearly told me you didn't want a relationship with me. I'm going to show you here. Some other man treated me poorly in the past and a lady wrote on a napkin. And now I'm having your babies from a blowjob that we had together one night. I mean, I don't. Good Lord. Can you get a harassment order against DG so he has to leave you alone? Or do you not want to get in that legal fight with him, which I would not blame you for? I'm not fucking, I'm not doing that. I don't, it's not that I wouldn't appreciate having him leave me alone, but like, I sit here and say my opinions about him, so he gets to talk about me however he wants on his blog and shit. Don't abuse the courts to do it the way he did in the Maricini case, but like, he can talk shit all he wants online. I'm just saying, like, don't be like, oh my gosh, I wish they would leave me alone. Oh my gosh, these people are terrible. When you're sitting there calling me a shit-eating worm who eats like feces in graphic detail. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to go to a judge and sue you because you said mean names about me and my friend Laura. Okay. Somebody has been eating some of that shit, but it's not me. All right. I know you don't know me well, and I can't imagine what you were going through, but maybe this will help you understand why I feel like I can help you and be there for you as you learn to love yourself again. Again, lady, you have one encounter with a man, and he says he doesn't want a relationship with you, and this is what you're doing, like shortly after. Just stop. Let's see. He says, Clayton responds to that the best way he can. He says, kudos to you for sharing your story. I'm sure it'll help many, and it's why I share my own to help others. And then he tries to move back to business, right? The guy clearly doesn't want to talk to her about, and like, I talked to her about like romantic relationships and like intimate relationships and shit, but she keeps trying. And look, I'm not going to judge someone for not picking up on that right away, because I also have some issues with like picking up on social cues sometimes. But this was a clear cut, like stop over and over again. And she just would not stop. And we haven't gotten there yet, but we will in a sec. Hold on. I'm waiting for, my mom's supposed to do something, so I had to check my text real quick. No, I'm good. Okay. All right. So when it comes to the business real estate stuff, I'm going to skim through some of that. They're just talking about business, which is fine. They should have kept talking about business, but that's it. Okay. She says here, I honestly, I didn't think that I was upset during today's conversation, but I have been really down ever since I got home. The real estate stuff is super exciting and a dream come true. Okay, so stick to that. If somebody you're doing business with says, I want to talk business only, stick to that. I honestly didn't expect to like you as much as I did, and I'm very sad that you pretty much closed the door on anything without allowing me the opportunity to try to help you through this, since I definitely understand the general feeling of not loving yourself. I just wanted to maybe work towards something. Dude, the guy is uncomfortable with this. Stop. I understand how you're feeling, and I'm sorry that I put you in the position that I did. That is completely my fault. But I do stand by just wanting to keep it friends between us. I need my space and singleness to find myself. I'm still open to having good conversations with people, but not romantically at the moment. It's what I need at this time to heal. Hopefully you can understand. And he shouldn't have to continuously explain this. She should take no for an answer and move on. If you want to move forward with the deals, let me know, blah, blah, blah. Okay. She says, I understand you need time to heal. I just don't know why you wouldn't consider working towards something with no expectations whatsoever. That is absolutely an expectation. If you're working towards something romantic, that's an expectation. And he said, no, I don't want romantic conversations. No means no. I don't want to do deals with someone else, and I wouldn't have funding without your encouragement. So if she really wanted real estate, if that's like was her goal there, and they're having problems, he can't give her what she wants on a personal standpoint, and he's offering her referrals to realtors who are probably more experienced than he is, and she's saying, no, I don't want to deal with someone else, then that's not about the real estate. That's personal. Okay. He says, I don't want to put the work in towards anything right now. Thinking about that gives me anxiety. I've taken on a lot, so I'm trying to focus on finding my balance and peace. The guy just wants to be alone. Let him be alone. Okay. She says, maybe with me, it wouldn't be work. Yeah, you're definitely given that vibe. She's definitely given that vibe when she says repeatedly, no, it'll be fine. We should give it a try. Even when he says, please stop. Stop. I want to be just friends. I understand that you've tried lots of things before that haven't helped, but you haven't given me the opportunity to help you. He doesn't want her help. He does not want her help. God. I may not get what it's like to be the bachelor, but I know PTSD, anxiety, shame, etc. I found out about a month after I was... I'm not saying all that. She says that she was assaulted and left for dead, and that the entire thing was live streamed on the dark web, which is something that she appears to like conveniently pop out at times when she needs a card to play. And if she were anyone else and I heard something like that, I would take pause and I would think, okay, this is disturbing and you're making this accusation. So I would like to hear more about that so I can, decide if what you're saying is trustworthy. Unfortunately, healing from that took a lot of hard work, and I felt like no one understood me, which is what I'm sure you're dealing with. I can't imagine how much anxiety you're feeling with just a few of the things you told me you have been through, but I'm more empathetic than 99.99% of people you'll meet and would love to listen. She keeps crossing this boundary. She keeps crossing this personal boundary, like this pushy behavior, like, well, all this bad stuff happened to me, so you shouldn't reject me. That's kind of what this is, in my opinion. This is she's like planting this seed of like, I've been through so much bad stuff. So if you reject me, you're a bad person because you're just hurting me more. Like, this is a weapon. It's not a genuine sharing of experiences to get closer to somebody that you have a relationship with. He said, I don't want to be anything but friends. I don't want to cross that line. And she continues to try to push this. And it's creepy. And the reason I can't automatically believe what she's saying about this assault being on the dark web is that she's lied about so many other things. So like I said, if it were anyone else, I would ask questions and I would want to understand, and I would be empathetic, and I would think I have some sympathy for this person. I can't make a total judgment against somebody that I don't know when I don't have the details of this, and I'm not going to condemn somebody for something that I don't know this person. But I will be there for whoever went through that or is telling me they went through that and they want to talk about it. I'm not going to come out here and be like, you're a liar. If that makes sense. It's sort of like you trust but verify, I think is what a lot of people say. Don't automatically assume that somebody's lying, but also don't automatically assume, that there's the terrible person on the other end of the story doesn't have, part of the story of their own that's important. And yes, there is literally zero evidence of it, but Jan seems to know the story, so just ask the investigators. I don't wish that on anybody, right? But when somebody lies about being raped, you have to question whether they're telling the truth if they make another allegation of being raped. It sucks. That's how it is. All right. And to be clear, if you missed the beginning of this, she made it very obvious that there was a consensual interaction between her and Clayton in which there was no penetration. And yet she and her lawyer have both blasted false claims of rape against Clayton on the internet and otherwise. So, yeah, I'm not just going to take her word for it on this. Sucks. All right. Okay, I'm sure you're thinking that working towards a relationship and seeing if there is a bond is work. Oh my God, stop. And another commitment for you, but I'm not. More than anything, I'm looking for a best friend who I have emotional intimacy with, and the physical is secondary. But he just told you he doesn't want a romantic relationship 2 or 3 times already. I truly have no expectations except to see if that naturally develops without your halting it. Okay, if somebody says no, no means no. That you're saying he's halting it. What she's actually saying is, I want to see if it develops without you saying no. But he said no, so you have to stop. I'm just asking you to consider it. God. He says, it pains me that you had to experience that with the alleged cyber whatever. That's terrible that someone could be so cold and inhumane towards another person. I hope they live with that guilt for a whole lifetime. So he's being empathetic there, sympathetic, treating her as if, he doesn't have the full details of that, but treating it as if it's true, trust and be there for that person in the best way that you can. But there's only so much you can do with that, especially if you don't want a relationship with this person, right? So he responded to that in a way that I feel was appropriate. I do hear you, but I just like to keep it friendly between us. I trust my gut, and it's telling me to follow this path I'm keeping myself on. I've been doing really well mentally when I stay the course. She says, thank you, I appreciate that. I do too. It pains me you won't even consider giving me a chance. Just stop. Begging someone for a chance when they say they don't want to be with you is not going to happen. It's not going to help. And he's just trying to do his job at this point, and she will not stop. Seems like you always could have been happier, and maybe you just had the wrong people around. All I asked for was openness with no expectations from me. Dude, and people say this all the time, and I know people are annoyed by that, but especially in this situation, it's something you really need to do. Flip the roles here. And if a man was talking to a woman this way, his female realtor this way, people would be really fucking creeped out by that. It's pretty bad. All right. He says, maybe I could have, but I know I was supposed to live the exact life that I did. Everything in my life has a purpose. Okay. I'm making progress, so I don't want to jeopardize it now. I have to continue the course that's been set out for me. And then again, he tries to bring it back to business. And then she goes, yeah, you've tried a lot of things, but you haven't tried me, who actually empathizes and has been in dark spots like you've been in and gotten through them. Okay, so you have had trauma, allegedly. That does not mean that he has to date you. And stop. Just stop. You won't even consider getting to see if there's anything there with no expectations or pressure from me. I would never suggest that if I thought I couldn't genuinely help you or that you could help me become better people, and I don't care, whatever. Oh boy. I've been happy that I found a lender for literally anything and should be really excited, but I'm not. She's like, I'm not excited about our business dealing together because you won't date me. What the fuck is this? I thought last night that it could be really fun to work towards maybe seeing each other and buy tons of properties, but now you're shutting a door and it's really hard for me to be excited. Lady, get another realtor and move on. At this point, if she's really excited about the real estate stuff, get another realtor and move forward with them and leave this guy behind. The way she's reacted to him up to this point, even up to this point, it's crazy. Yeah, it's a little crazy, but she could have, walked away, gotten a different person to do business with, and like work through her issues so that she could find a boyfriend who actually wants to be with her. But instead, she's harassing this man and trying to force him into a relationship so they can continue business together. It's insane. Didn't NJ happen like months before this, or am I mixing up the year? I thought hers, that was before Greg, but I'm not positive. Somebody will have to remind me. Yeah, this is so gross. All right. What if you just honestly and openly gave it a week to be open to something maybe eventually happening with absolutely no expectations? First of all, like, a week is not enough to know if you can have a deep relationship with someone. Like, you barely know someone after a week. My God. Literally a week of your life. Why does she feel entitled to a week of his life? That's nuts. If you feel the same after a week, fine, be done. But I really want to experience the excitement of getting houses with you since you made it happen and get together with no pressure. But if something happens, it happens. Lady, no. No. And if after a week you want to continue, we see for another week. Oh, my God. Okay. Okay, they're talking business again. Clayton says, again, I'm sorry, Laura, but I just want to be friends. Please understand that I'm doing what I feel is best for me. It wouldn't make sense to force something against how I feel. And that's exactly what she's trying to do, is force him into something. And we'll see that in a second. That's great on both of these lender options. I will run by both of them by tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. Give me 1 second. I have to keep checking my phone for my mom. So I don't want to miss her. Okay. Okay, and here's what I was talking about. So she says, I'm wanting to buy and be on the hook for more than $1.1 million in real estate, which would have been a great idea given what we know about their finances now. I'm really doubting myself at this point. I had been so sure of myself, and now I just don't know. I asked you to open your heart to me for a week. I mean, she just met this man and gave him a blowjob or two. Like, this is not a fucking love story. This is weird. Think about how that makes me feel and let me know in the morning. What? And here's where she's trying to like force him to do this basically by like, it's like what I believe to be a thinly veiled threat over like losing the money for doing his job. She says, that's about $70K in commissions to someone who believes in me enough to not even think I'm worth a week of their time. I don't know why that's so hard for you, but it's making me feel awful and really making me question my ability and worthiness. This is what I'm saying, lady. Walk away. Work with a therapist on why you question your ability and worthiness over a blowjob. Like, I'm not actually giving her advice or talking to her here. I'm just thinking it out loud, like I said. So if this were, you know, anyone else, a friend who came to me and sent these text messages, I would say, look, what you're saying doesn't sound right now. This person's clearly telling you no. You need to talk this through with a professional, work on your shit, and move on. Like, this is not normal. This is not normal. And you can be a great person in like a lot of ways and have, you know, a horrible toxic tendencies in relationships. Both of those things can be true, but you have to be willing to accept that, to like look at it and to do the work to fix it. Trying to force this man and like holding a commission over his head to date you is fucking nuts. All right. Also, this is manipulative. Maybe not intentionally even. Well, for her, I would say it's intentional, but maybe not intentionally. But like saying, you're making me feel awful and question my ability and worthiness is like, it's trying to like shift it. So like, I need you to make me feel better. This is how you're making me feel. Do you want me to feel this way? So you better give me what I want. And some people do that consciously. Like, I believe that she's doing it consciously because she's kind of nailed this scheme down to a T. But some people do it unconsciously. So I try not to judge too hard, right? Like, some people really do feel that way. They feel awful. They question their worthiness and they don't understand why. They don't understand that the why is not an external issue. It's an internal issue and they need to fix that. Otherwise, everyone's going to make them feel awful and worthless, because you got to fix that. But this is a scam that she's been running for a long time. This is not a one-off or like a personal issue. This is like a scam. So, all right. Laura, if anything, this should show you that I can't provide what it is you're looking for. See me for who I am, not what you think I can be. We often project the best version of what we think someone can be onto them when the reality of what they've shown us does not match our projections. But this is a fallacy many fall victim to. The truth is, we just met, and you don't know enough about me to know my character. But I'm telling you I have commitment issues. I'm telling you I don't have time for someone else. And I'm telling you I am not mentally stable enough to bring someone into my life. Please see the reality of the picture that I'm painting. Prior to last night, we spoke about working together and getting your properties, and there was no expectation beyond that. I would like to go back to that place. If we cannot, I understand and will accept my actions and ramifications for what they are. Maybe it is best you go find another agent, because the more we talk about it, the more I'm stressing out, and I really can't subject myself to any more stress. This has nothing to do with you not being worth a week of my time. This has everything to do with me protecting my mental health. That's it. I don't care about the money. I make enough and I'm happy with my finances. I know God has my back and will provide the life that is meant for me, and he'll also teach me lessons along the way. I trust in him, and whether it's my gut or him, I feel that strongly about my feelings towards this all, and I'm asking that you please respect them. You are worthy. You are enough. This is not about you. It's fully about me and who I am in this present moment. God, this guy's like having to explain himself to an exhausting degree. Like, please stop, please stop, please stop. This is not what I want. Please stop. You are enough. Please stop. It's... Okay. It's a wall of text. You're right that I don't know what you're going through and feeling. Like you, I have strongly relied on my faith base to get me through my trauma and issues. Really, because I didn't hear her mention that before. And the last thing I want to do is get in the way of your healing process. Then take no for an answer. I have struggled a lot with self-confidence and believing in myself, and despite wanting to do investing for a long time, I haven't felt I actually could do it until we started talking. I don't want to work with another realtor because I know they wouldn't understand creative finance or trust that I had what it takes to get it done like you have. Oh, she likes herself some creative finance, that's for sure. All right. I think a big issue with communication in general is that we often talk to each other as if the other person has had the same set of experiences that makes us who we are. Now, this guy's trying to tell her repeatedly, this is my issue, this is my experience, please stop. And she won't. You obviously haven't known this about my background, but my family was told that my dad needed to enter hospice care back in December. Okay, that sucks, but this guy still doesn't have to date you. I don't say this to make you feel sorry for me, but because maybe it will make you understand where I'm coming from. Okay, she uses her sick father. She's been using her sick father to like try to guilt men into staying with her for a decade or so. Like, I feel like I don't wish any illness upon this lady's father or anyone in her family or her, right? But she's been using that as an excuse to emotionally blackmail people for a very long time, and I'm sick of it. So I'm losing a little bit of empathy for that. Even with the bankruptcy stuff, like when I heard about their house was going to be put up for sale, I was like, I feel bad that a sick old man is going to have to lose his house. But like, I can't keep feeling bad because they use it as a bargaining chip to try to blackmail people emotionally into things that the other people don't want. It's ridiculous. All right. I don't say this to make you feel sorry for me, but because maybe it will make you understand where I'm coming from. After what happened to me in March of last year, I pretty much wrote off ever needing a relationship again and was fine with it. Going through this experience with my family has really changed all of that. My dad was one of the top radio talk show hosts of all time, and for my whole life was this larger-than-life figure. It's been 10 years that she's been saying he's been going through this experience where he's like going to die. Again, I don't wish that for them, but this is clearly a bargaining chip at this point that she uses to try to get people to do what she wants. Let's see. if somebody can look at that, what happened to me in March of last year, is she talking about the alleged dark web thing? If so, you need to look at the timeline of the Greg case and when she made those allegations. But I don't have time to do that right now, unfortunately. So somebody says you don't have to be hospitalized to be in hospice. For example, my father-in-law was in hospice for 5 years with cancer. Oh yeah, no, that's true. When I'm trying to help people get their medical bills paid, which is like what I do all day for a living, that's my actual job. I know that some people think I'm just like YouTube, but no, I have a job, like a regular job. And a lot of that is like people will get referred to hospice, and a lot of times hospice will want to, they don't want them to be hospitalized. They don't need to be hospitalized, but they can still give them hospice care outside of the hospital. Right. Okay. Now, at the end of his life, he's not anxious, and I think he's a much kinder person, despite the fact that he can't walk on his own and has to have a caregiver with him at all times. Again, I'm just not even going to comment on that. Again, I don't wish that on them, but like, she uses his illnesses or illness to like guilt people. He now knows that it isn't about fame and money, but love. His biggest dream in life now is to make it until his first grandchild is born next month. Okay, great that he was able to do that. But like, she's been telling these men that her father's going to die at any second for 10 years. Like I said, every birthday and holiday is probably the last we will celebrate together. Same thing she said to Mike Maricini 10 years ago. It hasn't made me sad or bitter, but rather it's made me more grateful. Maybe you can understand why I'm saying that I asked for 1 week of your time. I'm sure that 1 week sounds like an impossible amount of time to make any sort of progress when you're trying to overcome trauma and anxiety. And I get that more than you know because I have been there. But when you're threatened with only having one more day, week, or even hour, it makes you realize that at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is telling people how you feel about them. He told you, lady. He told you he didn't want to be with you. That's what I'm saying. This is emotional blackmail, because she's been telling these men, my father's going to die at any minute. Don't leave me now or stay with me now. You know, and it's like, dude, I can be empathetic to like the experience with the father's illness, but like at the same time, when you constantly use it to badger men and try to guilt them into dating you, it's nuts. This is nuts. This is very transparent. All right. I don't want you to respond. And this is still he's like saying, I don't want to date you. I don't want to date you. I don't want to date you. Please, let's just be friends. And like, she's like sending these walls and walls of text. Like, my God, will not take no for an answer. I don't want you to respond with that you feel sorry for me and my family, that you can't imagine what we're going through, etc. I wouldn't ask God to have given me any other life. I'm not reading all that. I'm not reading all this. I can tell that you have a tremendous heart and kindness in your soul that is so unique and that I honestly can't have seen in another guy or haven't seen in another guy. In a week, you have been encouraging and vulnerable, and I haven't experienced that with someone else. You've made me believe in myself enough to take action in following my dreams in a way that I haven't been able to before. This is a crazy, unhealthy attachment to form after a week from someone who says, I didn't want a relationship with you. This is unwell. Like, this person needs a lot of help. I'm not saying she couldn't have had a normal life if she had chosen to get the help and moved on, but she didn't. And she continued to do this. And that's why it turned into what it was. And that's why I believe it's a scam, not a genuine display of emotion a lot of time. I'm sorry if what I said before made you feel like I wasn't truly hearing you out, because I am. No, you're not. Because you're continuously pressuring this man into having a relationship with you when he said no. It didn't fall on deaf ears. I can't begin to understand what you went through or what you're going through that has made you have anxiety, commitment issues, etc. And won't say I get it because I don't. Didn't she just say she got it like 40 times? Only you know what it's like. The qualities I have seen in you that you think are weaknesses, I see as strengths. You are kind, in tune with your emotions, whether you think you are or not, and have a beautiful faith base. I apologize for the essay this turned out to be, but thank you for reading it. I haven't bared my soul like this to a man ever. Lady. I've seen her text messages to Mike, and okay. But I knew you wouldn't judge me for it. Anyway, I hope that you don't shut me out and that you realize with the fragility of life and time, you have nothing to lose by allowing someone like me, who is probably the opposite of most girls you've met, in. My father's dying. Life is fragile. Be with me, even though you said repeatedly that you don't want to. Like, what the fuck? I don't have a timeline and I don't want to pressure you, but I hope you will get to know me and consider the possibility of this maybe being something more. No. How many times does somebody have to tell you no? Who knows? Maybe it will be nothing, and I know that an immediate no feels safe, but will you at least think about it? Oh my God. And regardless, I would like you to be my realtor. I know I said a ton in the message above, and I don't feel like you need to give a long response. Just a yes or no is fine. Oh, he's given a no. He's given a no. Clayton says, thanks for sharing all that. I hope letting it out brings you a sense of peace. Suppressing issues only allows them to compound, so I'm glad you're addressing them, as it will allow you to heal. He's trying so hard to be nice, man. Or maybe he's not even trying. Actually, I think this is just kind of how he is. He wants to be nice. He wants to be kind. He wants to be empathetic. But like, oh my God, she would not take no for an answer. I'm happy to work with you as your realtor, and I hope I can continue to be a positive light that helps you believe more in yourself, because that's a choice we all have the power to make. It's just not easy to get there most times and stay there consistently, but it's possible. I will say, though, with full certainty that this can be nothing more between us other than friends. This is my boundary that I am setting, and I ask that you respect it. It's what I need, and it's what I feel. I shouldn't have invited you over when I was heavily under the influence of weed. Mind you, she was sober when that happened. I've realized I'm using weed as a coping mechanism to avoid my pain, and that is not healthy at all. I need to go to a therapist and begin dealing with this all, because I'm not happy with this place I've gotten to. It was my fault for crossing that line that I would not done had I been sober. Again, but that all falls on my shoulders, not yours. I'm not mad at you, nor am I placing any blame on you. This is a me problem that it's time I address. She says, I just asked that you give time to consider it, and you gave it 7 minutes. Oh my God. He gave it all fucking day when you continue to badger him about being in a relationship, and he said, no, 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 no. Wow. JCM says, I'm dying to know what her messages to the other guy she was banging at the time looked like. Something tells me it was much more along the lines of let's fuck versus these large, pathetic essays. I don't know. I have no idea. I know nothing about the man except that he was, with her because of the investigative report. But the thing is, like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with just, like, hooking up with people. I'm not going to sit here and be like, you're a whore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't actually feel that way. I think, like, if you're two consenting adults who want to hook up, whatever. I don't care if you hook up with 2 different people on 2 different nights. I don't give a fuck. But you can't do this. When somebody says no, you got to stop. And if this had been like a one-time boundary issue where she was really struggling with this, and like after all this came out, she went to a therapist and decided for herself that she was never going to do it again, and she was never going to cross those boundaries over somebody's boundaries like that again, then that would be one thing. And I would be having a very different conversation than I am right now. But this is a pattern that's been going on for at least a decade. Boundary stomping behavior, intentionally ignoring no's, and then trying to punish them for setting those boundaries when she won't take no for an answer. So, all right. So again, she says, I just asked that you give it time to consider, and you gave it 7 minutes after he was like very thoughtful and empathetic and tried the best he could to set the boundary several times. He says, Laura, please, I've made up my mind, and you persistently questioning my decision shows me you aren't respecting my boundaries. That frustrates me because I surround myself with people that ultimately support me, not question my decision-making. I think it's best you find someone else to work with, because your questioning of my decisions is really adding a bunch of stress to me in my morning. Respectfully, I cannot have that kind of energy in my life. She says, that certainly wasn't my intention. It was the opposite. Clayton says, well, that is what happened, but it's okay. I'm not holding anger against you for it. I just want us to be friends and keep it at that for good. If you can accept that, great, then let's do that and keep working together. If you cannot, that is okay, but please let me know. And she tried to act like he was an angry monster after she badgered and pushed him like this and stomped his boundaries and refused to take no for an answer and emotionally tormented him. Like, it's ridiculous. And then she wants to sue people for saying mean things on the internet about it. It's pathetic. Oh my God. She says, you are completely shutting the door on it, even down the line, even if we are just friends for now. He says, yes, that's correct. She says, got it. What I said deserved more than 5 minutes of thought and a knee-jerk reaction response. Lady, he repeatedly said no in the nicest ways possible. Oh my God. If that is how little consideration you give to my thoughts and feelings, and if you believe in me and who I am so little that you would forever shut a door on me, ladies, if you find yourself this attached to a man after one encounter and like a week of knowing each other, run. Do not walk to a therapist's office. Like, wow. Okay. If that is how little consideration you give to my thoughts and feelings, oh my God, you've got tremendous, tremendous consideration for your thoughts and feelings. In fact, nobody can do anything else except consider Laura's thoughts and feelings because she won't let them. It's ridiculous. And if you believe in me and who I am so little that you would forever shut a door on me, you can't possibly believe in me and my instincts enough to want to represent me in my best interest as a realtor. So get another realtor, like the guy said. God, my God. That makes me incredibly sad, but I hear you and don't want to subject you to having to deal with me any further since I have clearly been nothing but stress in your life. Okay. So it says you're saying there's still a chance. Shut up, man. Tiff says, I'm not even attached to my husband of not even this attached to my husband of 28 years. Hey Tiff, if you want to come back with me and Bruce at 8:30, you can. Because I'm not gonna be able to finish this afternoon. I got maybe like 15 more minutes in me. We'll see. All right. All right. No, seriously, I don't know if I've been in some bad spots where like I've like had unhealthy tendencies in relationships, but I'm not sure that there's ever a point in my life where somebody could make me do this. You know what I mean? Like this is. But no, like we've all had our really bad, embarrassing like behaviors in our past. Like everybody does. Some people worse than others, and I'm certainly not. I'm not saying I've never been in a relationship that was toxic, but this is not a relationship. These are people who have done oral sex one night. Like what is going on here? There's like this is just wrong. But no, like I said earlier, and I'll say it again, just to harp on it, like if this was somebody who really made a lot of mistakes here and was just like acting crazy and then woke up one day and was like, holy crap, the way I treated this person was like something's wrong with that, this attachment, this feeling of attachment, and my self-worth being so attached to somebody I've known for like 1 week is like not normal. Went to a therapist, decided to really do the work to change things, and then went on with their life and had a normal relationship and got a job and found a husband. I'd be like, I'm not going to fucking bother that person or criticize them really. But that's not what happened here. She continued to do things that crossed the line into, in my opinion, sexual harassment. And my God, we are not at the bad part yet. I can tell you that. All right. Okay. I understand your feelings and respect them, and I took the last 2 days thinking about it. It wasn't just 5 minutes. When I make a decision, I stand by it, and I am proud of my ability to stick with my decisions. There was a time when I didn't have the confidence in me to do so. I'm sorry this is how things have gone. I'm very much sorry for my part in it. I wish you the best, Laura. I really do. She says, it only happened Saturday night, so you weren't thinking about this and my feelings for 2 days. You decided hours after I left. Oh my God. I'm crying in bed and have been all morning. Lady! This is what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to talk to Laura. I wish she would stop watching me and the things that I have to say because I'm reading this and I'm like, this is so embarrassing. And I wish she would just go away and stop watching me read this stuff because I'm like, reliving this for her, I'm sure is not pleasant either. But I'm not gonna like mince my words or my feelings just because she won't stop watching me. You know what I mean? So, all right. I'm crying in bed and I have been all morning, feeling like hold on. Feeling like I can't do anything, let alone buy houses. Maybe the way you always have been thinking and dealing with things isn't actually working for you, because it doesn't seem like it is. I also know myself well enough to know that you are the one who made me feel like I could do this, and that I don't think I will be able to move forward with another realtor, even though I really want to buy properties and take the next step. I know what is best for me is for you to represent me. My God. I can't do this. Okay. Clayton says, you do have it in you to buy those properties. And well, she doesn't have any fucking money, so I don't know if she does, but you know. You do have it in you to buy those properties, and there are plenty of realtors out there that are more well-versed than I am, especially on creative details. He's like a baby realtor at this point. I've only been a realtor for 2 months. There you go. So you could find many realtors in the area with more experience / knowledge. And there's a lot of kind-hearted and encouraging realtors I've met as well. That would be great for you. I believe you'll find the perfect realtor for you, but it sometimes takes meeting a few or more of them to finally find the best one for you. That individual is not me, however. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to take a break to check for mom's text. Nope, we're good. Should I text my mother and badger her for not paying attention to and messaging me the way that Laura probably would? Hold on. I'm trying to set this up for, what was it, 8:30? I just need a break from reading that for like 30 seconds. All right. What a nightmare. Yep, I'm good here. All right. You should text your mom that I feel what's best for me is for you to sit here and listen to me, because you can make me feel like a little pony. That's not true, Omar. Your dad makes me feel like a little pony every day. Anyways, where were we? I want to be the friend that you need right now, not pressure you. And wow, you're doing a hell of a job of showing it. All right. And I want you to be my realtor. I'm sorry. I want to put the offers in today, and I was calling you to tell you how to structure them. Okay. He says, I forgive you, but I don't feel comfortable with representing you at the moment. I'll let you know if things change, but I need some space. She says, I'll give you space, but what can we do about the houses that the realtors are calling you back on today that we were going to offer on? He says, thank you. I would contact another realtor, tell them the houses that you are interested in, and have them reach out to those agents with your proposed offers. Okay. Okay. I've dealt with other realtors who made me feel like I can't do this. Is it possible they made you feel like you couldn't do it because you're fucking broke? I mean, I'm just asking. Again, that's just me thinking out loud. I'm not actually trying to communicate with Laura here. I have to say that because she seems to think that everyone wants to talk to her, and they really don't. But I'm just thinking out loud here, and my thought is it possible the other realtors knew you were fucking broke? Like, and I'm just saying. Okay. Dima says, I swear that excuse of a woman hits on my last effing nerve. Why can't she just get it already? She needs to know when to shut the fuck up. By the way, love you, Lauren. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. But yeah, this is a lot. In reading back my messages, my intentions were obviously good, but I wasn't a good friend in listening to you, and that is what you need right now and what I would like to be for you. Please give me the opportunity to do that for you, and please help me with what I need right now, which is to prove to myself that I can do this. I can even have the lender call you directly with the way to structure it, so you don't need to talk to me. One of the lenders just messaged me to say he's on the phone as we speak with his transaction coordinator, and I'm panicking. He already has your number, So I don't know if he's going to call you, but heads up. He says you can tell him to call me. Okay. I let him know. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I don't think we need to worry about the business stuff so much because I don't really care about that, to be honest. Obviously, we know it didn't work out, so. Yeah, when it comes to this real estate stuff, I'm like, I'm sorry, I just don't give a shit about real estate. So if you want a realtor, talk to Clayton. I'm not one, so. All right. Oh, my God. I'm deeply appreciative of what you've done for me because I haven't been able to believe in myself long enough to pull the trigger, and I've been sitting on the sidelines watching other people do what I really want to do. When I thought about doing this with another realtor, I went back to feeling like I couldn't do it because I know other agents would be skeptical. Well, why is that? Is it possibly because she doesn't have any money? I mean, Crystal Lynn Turner, thank you for being a new member. I appreciate that. Tiff says, I'll cover the real estate stuff. Oh, yeah. Good. Good. All right. Your confidence in me has made all the difference and will change my life, so I can't thank you enough. All right. Let's do this again. I'm sorry again. And I want to be there for you, however I can. Because I'm sure how you're feeling is very lonely. I haven't been in your shoes, but the underlying theme of what you have said is very familiar. And I hate to think of anyone being in that place. Stress and anxiety are horrible things to deal with. And some of the best medicine is just having a blowjob. Sorry, that's not what she said. It's just talking to people who have experienced it. I know it takes a lot of courage to open up and be vulnerable, and I'm grateful that you did it with me. Feel free to vent to me anytime, and I promise I won't be judgmental. And will just listen if that's what you need. I hear you, and I am here for you. These are like huge paragraphs. I'm getting really tired of both of these people at this point. I don't mean it. Clayton's fine, but all right. I got it on Amazon, dude. All right. Let me know when you email the representation agreement so I can sign it. Right? I don't think she was ever going to sign it, but that's just my opinion. And I'm going to skip that. Still talking business, which is they should have continued talking business and we wouldn't be here. All right. Don't care about this. Still don't care. Oh, no. Okay. No pressure, but thought you might want to come ride later this week before it gets too hot. And I guess she sent a picture of her on the horse, right? Okay. I think it's the best thing in the world for stress and anxiety. The arena is my backyard, and the field, my favorite, huge and green grass as far as the eye can see, is a 5-minute walk away. We could ride in either, and I'd love to teach you if you don't know how. I have the best, safest horses ever, and I thought it could be fun to do together. And that, if she had not harassed and badgered him about having a relationship before sending that, would have been a nice text message, maybe, depending on how he feels about being invited to ride horses by someone he has known for 5 minutes. But okay. Tiff says, well, it worked once. All right. Clayton says, I appreciate the infights. I've been on horses a few times. It was cool to try, but I don't really have an interest in them. Oh, no. She doesn't do well when you're honest about not having an interest in something. It's awesome that you find them to be therapeutic in a way, though. Laura says, yeah, anyways, I have EMD secured for both. Okay. Laura says, I was just talking to one of my riding friends who has 2 units in the Optima Kierland. I don't know how you pronounce that. And wants to sell one or both. They're way bigger, more expensive, blah, blah, blah. Business stuff I don't care about. Again, no pressure. Don't want to add stress. If your plate is full, we could talk about it more when we get a drink. Okay. He says, send my contact. Tell her to reach out to me. Oh, don't care about that. Like, if they're just talking about real estate, who cares, you know? The problem is when she refused to, like, accept his boundaries and kept doing this. All right. Oh no. This is where I was talking about sexual harassment. All right. So they've been talking about business for I don't know how long, even how long this interaction has taken place, but they had that huge blow up about how he didn't want to be anything more than friends with her. And then she, continues to what I feel like qualifies as harassment. Force, romantic conversations that he didn't want. And then now still this is what she's doing. She says, thanks, sounds good. Are you in there? The guard isn't letting me in. You're seriously so ridiculously talented to have such a great eye for design, and I'm pumped to have you as a 10% owner. Your guidance is literally invaluable, and there's no time commitment, obviously. I just really believe in you and trust you. And then here she gets into like what I think would qualify possibly as sexual harassment, or at least appears to the layperson to be sexual harassment. Would you, because he's asked her to stop doing this, and she continues to push it. She says, would you be really mad if I told you that you look super handsome, and that combined with you being super confident and smart about everything, it made it hard to keep my hands to myself? Yeah, that's pretty bad. If somebody's asked you to stop making advances towards them, you can't say shit like that. If that makes you mad, I'm really sorry. I want to respect your boundaries. Do you? But I didn't know if that was maybe a somewhat reciprocated feeling. This man has, in no uncertain terms, made it clear that those feelings are not reciprocated. My God. Dima, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate that. All right. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Okay. So yeah, she is now, in my opinion, sexually harassing this man. Because he's asked her to stop in no uncertain terms so many times and said in no uncertain terms, I do not want more than a friendship type relationship with you. And she will not stop. Okay. And okay, I can't stop thinking about how much I want to do to you what I did the other night. This is sexually harassing behavior. Stop. Jesus. And I'll say again what I said earlier. If a male client was talking to his female realtor like this, she asked him in no uncertain terms to stop over and over and over again. And then he said something explicitly sexual like this to her. I think people would be pretty pissed. And people would think that like Clayton's a big guy and like maybe they would look at him and think, well, she couldn't really hurt him if she wanted to. No, it doesn't matter. This to me feels like clear-cut sexual harassment. And I can't tell you if that would meet a legal standard for anything. I can only talk as a layperson, but that to me is exactly what that seems like. So I want to have sexual relations with you again. Hope you're having a good dinner. Bye. Like, what the fuck? Sexual harassment is sexual harassment, man. It doesn't matter if the other person is taller than you or bigger than you or whatever. Sexual harassment is wrong. So, okay. He says, I appreciate the compliments, but yes, please only make comments to me that you would a friend. I appreciate it. I will send over the 2 contracts, blah, blah, blah. She's talking business there. And then says, on another note, I think you are the best, most talented person in real estate I could ever find. And I've talked to others. I really do. Working with you is definitely in my best interest for all the reasons I've told you before. I don't think, though, that I will ever not hope that at some point it turns into more, even if it's not today, tomorrow, months from now, or a year from now. Stop. Oh, my God. I understand you aren't ready because you've got your own stuff going on and can be your friend right now. I wouldn't wait around for you. But if you see this as so black and white as a friendship, that there is no gray area for even a maybe down the line, I think that would be hard for me to work with you. What the fuck? This is not okay. Okay. So, anyways, moving on from the sexual harassment, probably to more sexual harassment. She's saying, she's saying after he repeatedly said, please stop talking to me like this. I do not want a relationship with you. Please stop talking to me like this. She continues to make unwanted sexual advances. She's now saying, well, I guess, I'll never not hope that this won't turn into more, even though you've told me it won't. I understand you aren't ready because you've got your own stuff going on and can be your friend right now. I wouldn't wait around for you. Yeah, that's because if you talk like this to a guy, he's definitely going to believe you wouldn't wait for him, right? But if you see this as so black and white as a friendship that there's no gray area, even maybe down the line, I think that would be hard for me to work with you. Basically, I can't work with you unless you agree that there may even be a little bit of a chance. Basically saying, just tell me there's a little chance so that we can still work together. Like if your qualification for working with someone is that they have to have sexual relations with you, that's a problem. Jesus. Clayton says, it will always be a friendship, Laura. So please let me know if you would like to proceed today or not. I cannot go back and forth with you, especially when I'm talking with other agents about submitting offers. It hurts my credibility if I keep backing out. So if you back out today, I understand. But if you do, I cannot work with you any further. I want to help you out, but from a friendly/professional sense. I've made my intentions clear, and regardless of what you choose to do, I just hope we can have a mutual respect for each other's decision. Jesus. She says, the last thing I want to do is something to harm your credibility with realtors when I genuinely believe you are great at your job and when I have the funding to do it. I'm sorry. Saying the last thing I want to do is harm your credibility is hilarious, given what she did. My God. He says, so can you move forward as just friends and only friends from here on out? If so, I'll send the contracts over to sign here soon. If not, then I will not send over the contracts and respectfully will discontinue working together. She says, I want you to submit offers and go forward with both. I believe in you and want you to succeed and help you do that. In fact, that's what I want. I want to make something very clear. I wouldn't have asked you to JV with me or refer you to my friends just because I could see something developing in the future with you. That's my money and my credibility with friends at stake, which are two things that I have worked hard to build and wouldn't jeopardize. Really? Really? Okay. Because up here, she said, if you see this is so black and white as a friendship, there's no gray area for a maybe down the line. I think that would be hard for me to work with you. So it seems like on one here, it's like my business and my money is not going to go to you unless you have a sexual relationship with me. And then down here, it's like, no, I wouldn't do that. My money and my credibility, they're important. I would never do that. But she literally threatened that already. Clearly, I believe in you. Please read this without giving me an impulsive answer. So she acts like these people saying no to her is an impulse and a character flaw on their end, when really it's just a clear-cut no. It's just a boundary. God. I'm only saying that because if I were you and I felt backed into a corner, not listened to and overwhelmed, like I'm sure you do right now, I would glaze over this, think to myself, this girl doesn't listen and can't take no for an answer, and say in the nicest possible way a version of F off and find another realtor. And he's tried to do that. And it's like she has a little bit of self-awareness here, and she's just glossing over it, thinking, nah, it's fine. And yes, I did go into this yesterday as a friend and client and tried to suppress any feeling. Your feelings, your sexual and romantic feelings, are not anyone else's problem if they don't want a relationship with you. That, oh my God. And that's a general statement. I'm talking to all of you, okay? I'm not talking to Laura. I'm just saying that to the general public who are watching this video. If somebody doesn't want a relationship with you, your sexual feelings are not their problem. You said you struggled with decision-making and were proud of how far you'd come with that. And since you've now said no, you're feeling like I'm not listening to you or respecting you for that. I respect you more than you know, and it's largely because you have been open with me about your stress and anxiety, which I relate to so much. I am someone who has given black and white answers when backed into a corner and been too ashamed to change my mind later on. Sometimes I've been panicked and made a decision and then been too ashamed to go back on it, even if it was to my detriment. Oh my fucking God. This is so long. You were clear about just wanting to have conversations and nothing romantic. Then we hooked up. Again, when he was heavily under the influence of marijuana, as he mentioned above, said he would not make that decision had he been sober. She was sober. She knew he was very high. She did it anyways. Dima, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. I appreciate that, man. That's really awesome. Thanks. Let me move this real quick. All right, this is gonna be my swan song for the afternoon because I'm exhausted of reading this. And I don't believe that weed was entirely at fault for that decision. So again, not taking no for an answer, not believing someone when they set their boundaries and give you an explanation, that is not his problem. And then you drew a line in the sand again. From my perspective, no didn't mean no. Oh, honey. Oh, no. Okay. That's a pretty rapey text to send if you ask me. What the fuck? All right, one sec. When I panic, my go-to is no. And the more I'm pushed, the more I would do anything to relieve the pressure, and the firmer the no, at least in the moment. But really, there's so few absolutes and a million shades of gray. I've been too stubborn to change my mind after these decisions, and I have regretted it. This is so disturbing. Think about how you approach real estate and what you have said to me about properties. Have any of them been a slam dunk yes or no? I don't want to have sex with you is a slam dunk no. This weird trying to work in gray areas and trying to like make it about real estate, like this is fucking weird. Like I said, that's a rapey text message. That's ew. To me, there's been a lot of gray. No right answer, but no wrong one either. You've been so confident in there being no absolute. I'm asking you to feel the same level of commitment to maybe there's something there down the line as you would to maybe we should add a pull-out couch to the living room. Just like I won't pressure you either way on that. I won't pressure you to continue to be my realtor either if you don't want to be. I really do respect you, and I want what's best for you, but I know that we could be a powerhouse in REI and maybe more. If you think I've made some good points here and we'll just have an open mind to maybe, I will absolutely promise you I will never bring it up again or ask you. Oh, she's going to break that promise, baby. She is. Okay. And we'll just allow things to develop or not develop as they're meant to. Literally the only answer I would ask for in response to all of this is one word. Maybe. Then we can just talk about the offers. So just put away your boundaries, give me a maybe, then we can talk about business. I also am finishing letters to the homeowners that I would like you to send off with the offers if possible. Wow. Yeah, that's it for me this afternoon. I can't read any more of that. This is insane. These text messages should be role played. Well, Bruce is going to help me out tonight. Holy shit, dude. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like these people can threaten to sue me as much as they want. If you sexually harass someone that I've like now come to care about and you try to ruin their reputation and falsely accuse them of rape after doing this, fuck off. You want to take me to court? Take me to court. I'm not going to sit here and be quiet in the meantime. Bye. Actually, though, I'll be back at 8:30. So this stream, when I end it, will redirect you to the scheduled stream for 8:30 p.m. And I will see you guys then. Omar is welcome to join us, of course, but he might be busy working or something. So, all right. Bye, guys. Thanks.